Hello, and welcome to the University of Suffolk Business Engagement Podcast. I'm Gemma Matten, and today we're talking about the Digital Technology Solutions Level 6 Apprenticeship, specifically the Network Engineer pathway and how it supports businesses in developing future digital talent. I'm delighted to be joined by Dr Kakia Chatsiou, who leads the programme here at the University of Suffolk. Kakia, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Gemma. It's lovely to be here and have the opportunity to talk about the course.
To start off, could you tell us a little bit about the Digital Technology Solutions Apprenticeship and who the Network Engineer pathway is designed for?
Sure, of course. So the Digital Technology Solutions Level 6 Apprenticeship is a degree-level apprenticeship that combines academic study with real workplace experience. We've been delivering this program since 2017. We have a very well-established approach and long experience supporting both apprentices and employers. The Network Engineer pathway of the apprenticeship is designed for people who want to specialize in digital infrastructure, whether they are early in their IT career or later on in their career in some respects. And they would come from a wide range of sectors, such as not just your typical telecommunications companies, but SMEs, public sector organizations, and larger enterprises. I think if you perceive of that individual as the professional that sets up the infrastructure for quite a lot of the systems and devices that we have got connected around us, that would be very relevant to a professional like that.
So why is there such a growing demand for network engineering and digital infrastructure skills across the industries right now?
Demand for network engineering is not going to go away anytime soon. So if we think about our past and project into the future, all we'll be getting is more and more devices that need to be connected, more and more sensors that all need to be connected in the same kind of way, and to be able to talk to each other and get extra services or extra products that we could be using. So a network engineer is the person that would build the infrastructure, maintain it, and would also know how to, for example, look at the problems of the future. That's more speed, quicker things, and would be the one that would be envisaging the networks and the connectivity of the future. At the same time, there's a very big element of security and cybersecurity, and the need to make sure that that infrastructure is solid and is safe and secure for everybody. Network engineers don't just do network engineering. Network engineers will know a lot about software and a lot about cyber at the same time as knowing how to build these things physically.
Fabulous. So one of the earlier modules is computing fundamentals and operating systems. So what core knowledge does this give apprentices, and why is it important for someone entering the networking field to have this?
Very good question. So this module provides the essential foundation for the rest of the program. So not only do apprentices develop a very clear understanding of how computers work and the different systems and all the different parts of it, they also look at, like, from hardware to operating systems to software. They look at all levels to security. So this is essential for network engineers because not only will they be asked to play with and configure hardware and need to be able to configure how this works by installing an operating system or getting the software on it running. Also, they need to make sure how they secure it. And more these days we get to hear about AI. They will be the ones envisaging and imagining how these systems will be doing things automatically in a very quick way.
So what particular understanding do apprentices gain from the Introduction to Networking module?
So that would be a very important module in their first year of the degree. This is where they would really begin to connect the theory that maybe they have done up to that point in previous modules with hands-on practice. So they would learn core concepts in networking, such as IP addressing, routing, switching, protocols, network models. I know these might all be strange words to some of the listeners of the podcast. Please come and we can teach you all that. But the most important thing is the practical work and the scenarios. So they won't just be hearing about these concepts in an abstract way and learning how they work. They'll be practicing them and learning them by doing stuff. So it's very practically oriented. So they would do things like diagnosing faults. They'll be doing things like exploring different configuration options and how the different configuration options will impact performance. And things like, of course, I keep mentioning security, very important in that space, but also how can we make sure that they withstand their resilient system. So if something goes wrong, there's a backup, there's an alternative way because for the modern day user, they don't really want to be not connected. They want to be connected all the time.
Yes.
So what happens behind the scenes and how that is achieved, users do not really care. So the network engineer is the person that will put all these things in place and these fail safes. So essentially, if something goes wrong, we can capture it, correct it on the spot, so the whole system seems very resilient and feels very resilient for the user.
It's now such a major focus for organisations. How does the foundations of programming and cybersecurity module help apprentices develop both technical and security awareness skills?
So remember when I said network engineers are not just about networks? This is essentially the module that will get them up to speed with concepts around programming and around cybersecurity. So essentially, it's the bridging module that will give them the reality of some of the modern networking engineering skills, where you have programming, scripting, automation, security awareness. All of that is very important. So we would explore things like essential security, cybersecurity principles, information security principles. We would explore concepts such as mitigating threats, responsibility of the professional, and how the network engineer can actually be an active part of that security cycle and safeguarding the systems, but also getting them to get a feel for how these attacks occur and what kinds of attacks are specific to specific parts of the network. So we feel that by having this module there, it complements everything else in a very nice way, because then the apprentices will understand the relationship between the hardware, the practical switching and getting the cables in and out, also the automation and the security, which is really the future of where we're heading next.
Absolutely. So how important is it for network engineers today to understand automation, programming, and cybersecurity alongside traditional networking skills?
I think it is very important. I think the traditional skills remain very important. Knowing and understanding how a network works and also being able to translate that knowledge across different types of networks is very important. These days, we don't just look at connecting to the internet, connecting locally on premises, got mobile internet connection. We will see in the future different kinds of connectivity. Maybe the internet runs through satellites. There's nothing terrestrial anymore, or maybe it works through messages sent through undersea infrastructure. So the understanding of automation and cybersecurity is very important because it allows them to manage that infrastructure in an effective way. They don't always need to be there on it, monitoring. Tools would do that with them, helping them, so that they can actually have a bigger picture, a bigger view of what the whole of the system that they have set up looks like. So the cybersecurity part will ensure that the networks are designed, the networks are maintained in protection from the start. So by design, security is there. And of course, they would not only know their profession really well, how to do the hardware and how to do the configuration, they will be in a position to interact and work with other professionals like software engineers and cybersecurity experts in that domain. So they'd be good translators, good bridges between and across the specializations.
So alongside the technical learning, the programme also focuses on project management and professional development. So why is it important for apprentices to build those wider workplace and communication skills as well?
It will be a strange fact to quote here that no job, no role exists that doesn't involve communication. We need to be good communicators no matter what. And of course, have the ability to manage a project. So time management, understanding the resources, understanding cost are very important things for whatever projects, whatever work, whatever role they might be engaging in the future. So that's why we have added this very important part of the skills building. Also within apprenticeships, these kinds of skills are not just additional skills or soft skills, they're very much a part of the apprenticeship standards. We've got loads of different types of assessment incorporated in the degree, group work or presentations to help those network engineers that maybe don't feel so good or so confident in certain areas, or not everybody is an extrovert, not everybody is very good with presentations, but the role of the degree is to get them to improve on whatever skills gap they might have, so that at the end of that, they come out as complete professionals that can then make a difference in the business that they work for. So even though they're not at all soft skills, they're a very important part of what they do.
So how does the apprenticeship help employers develop talent that can contribute to real business projects and organisational goals?
With apprenticeships generally, not just specifically to DTS, the focus is very much on not just developing the individual, but developing the individual's skills within the workplace. So the apprentice and, of course, the employer will have the opportunity to decide on areas of interest. For example, some of the modules will allow the network engineers to choose specific scenarios or projects depending on the work that they might be conducting at the workplace and bring that to the classroom. Now, there's always opportunity for presenting work that's relevant to your workplace. I think the standard that the apprentices would be under in the next couple of years requires all apprentices, as part of their apprenticeship assessment at the end, to have maybe 6 to 8 different projects they can demonstrate that they would have done throughout the 3-year apprenticeship. So there's great focus in bringing knowledge exchange, I would say. Not only learn at the university, not only learn at the workplace, but bring the two together and essentially bring it all into one bigger picture. With employees in particular, we've seen, especially in certain modules towards the end of the apprenticeship, so level 6 essentially, we have a lot of opportunities, even within assignments, for apprentices to choose their own scenario. And that could be essentially directly linked to work that they do at the workplace. So really, I think opportunity to make direct impact on the employee and their employment as well. So not just learning and combining, but also building and making a difference to the current work that's going on in the organisation they work for.
What's good with the apprenticeship is that they are mixing with other people from other industries and getting other understandings of what's going on in and around businesses in the whole of the UK, maybe even worldwide, and creating those networks as well, which also help and support their business and their organisations.
Absolutely. So what is fantastic with this degree is that teaching happens at Adastral Park in Martlesham Heath in Suffolk. So essentially that puts our apprentices at the heart of the local technology ecosystem. So not only can they benefit from whatever is going on at the normal workplace, they can actually benefit from exchanging ideas and talking about various things. And we are accredited by Tech Skills UK, which is another body that essentially gives them opportunities for industry involvement with the projects, etc. So it's great benefits all around. I think that knowledge exchange is a nice term that describes the passing on and cross-pollination that's happening in terms of the knowledge and the learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say are the biggest benefits for employers investing in digital apprenticeships like this?
Digital apprenticeships allow employers to develop either existing employees that they have working for them or future talent into skilled professionals in a very structured and guided way, and very cost-effective way, if I may say. So apprentices not only learn as part of the normal degree, they learn in the context of what the workplace and the organization would like. So that means that they ensure very relevant knowledge being transferred to their organization and the business directly. So also, national figures might say that employee retention is a major benefit. So the reports that we've been seeing is that apprentices show strong loyalty, strong engagement, and strong motivation with the business and the organization that they work for. So if they feel that they are supported, they will be essentially sticking with the business much longer. Not only you creating happy people, you're creating skilled people, and you are reducing the cost of recruiting new people because that employee was no longer happy or didn't feel valued in what they were doing. Our program in particular, the strengths are around capacity in critical areas, networking, automation, cybersecurity. And that means that if you're a large organization and you already have a group, a section, a department of network engineers, that's fine. If you don't, and you are a small, medium enterprise that just has the need for more specialized knowledge around networking, that's also for you, because you can take that individual, train them all the way to the level 6 or 3 years, doing loads of good projects that would improve what you're offering in terms of your business and your skills in-house.
The retention, good quality people is so important. And the fact that it is cost effective, because if you are a levy payer, you're paying into that pot anyway. So to actually utilise that and support your staff with putting them into an apprenticeship. And it could be staff that have been working with you for years. It could be somebody who's just started with you. So I think that that's something important, that also with non-levy businesses, that they can also go to levy payers that aren't utilising and ask them if they can utilise their levy. There's that as well that we can obviously help and support with. So if an employer comes along who does want to invest in their staff, we can also help and support them with accessing levy if they're not a levy payer themselves. So, and finally, for anyone considering applying or supporting a member of staff onto the programme, what would you say makes this apprenticeship such a valuable opportunity?
If it's an employee that has been working with you for a little while, passing on the thanks, if you like, recognising that the skills can be improved upon and there's an opportunity for you to develop. So it's all about making sure you look after the people that work for you. But I think for those that are not yet working, so if it's like a new apprenticeship that they're opening up, I think we're finding that apprentices would gain a degree level qualification while earning without the need to be in debt. So for a local community and for the sake of keeping the local talent local and not letting them go out of Suffolk, I think apprenticeship is a fantastic opportunity to be both improving on the satisfaction of your current employees, but also contributing to the local community in that respect. So loads of positive things there. We are finding that apprentices start small, but they build confidence. They are much more likely to progress and get promoted. They're much more determined about their career path. For employers, we're finding that they look after their employees. They develop work-ready professionals. The expertise doesn't leave the region, but also it's an opportunity generally to invest the skills that genuinely matter for the future. And for a university like ours, which has got civic responsibility and involvement in the community, it's very important to us that. So I think it's contributing in so many good ways towards a better future for the region and for where we are and what we stand for.
Kakia, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing more about the Digital Technology Solutions Level 6 Apprenticeship, and particularly this one being the Network Engineer pathway. So it's clear that programs like this are vital in helping organisations build the digital and cyber skills needed for the future, while also giving apprentices the opportunity to gain hands-on experience alongside academic learning. If you'd like to find out more about the apprenticeship or how the University of Suffolk can support your organisation, please click on the link at the end of the podcast, or you can get in touch with our business engagement team. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the University of Suffolk Business Engagement Podcast.